I thought I'd do a little short video on this cabinet that is basically people don't care for what I did to this. It was a Nintendo Super Systems. Apparently it's a holy grail of the arcades. To me it was a pretty solid cabinet. I was going to try to restore it. But the specific controllers that are on this thing basically could not find anywhere. I mean, if somebody's parting this one out, there again, that's the argument is, you know, I'm repurposing this. It already had a different control panel. It just had some, I forget the name brand, joysticks and buttons on it, nothing illuminated. But it already had been updated. It had a dollar bill changer. The guy pulled the driver for that and all the components that I could use to implement that. But basically I was going to restore this thing and found, after everybody said that it was a hard cabinet to come by, so that in itself answers my question. So if this cabinet is hard to come by and you can't find the components, then what do you do? I'm not going to let it sit, so I decided to repurpose it. I ended up just doing basically a PC. Here, I'll go ahead and I got a main power switch up here. Oh, there we go. It's got a Basically, it's got a 5-disc. I got to do some more wire mapping. A few more things to hook up. I have the coin op working on hyperspin on the left side. I just have to run the wires on the right side for the coin op. I wanted that to happen because I thought that was pretty cool. These are gotten crooked, but basically you can do one of, I've got it mapped to the where you can do one of two things. You can either, like I said, I got the wires ran, but you can add a coin or you can add a token, because I got a whole pile of tokens from you know, other arcades over the years ago, but I had to modify the coin op to be able to accept those because they're a little different than the quarters as far as the weight and the size. So excuse me, I've gotten that feasibly working. So I did this marquee, or not marquee, excuse me. I did this. It's got Lexan on top. It's just basically a conglomeration of you know, something I just threw together. I thought it'd be kind of neat, but after the fact I watched a few videos on YouTube and found that I really dig. Oh, and then I like to add, like I said, you can see the mark here, but hopefully I'll build that out. And then I got I'm going to design some graphics, and then a buddy of mine I think will treat me right, and I'm going to do a Back to the Future theme on this thing because I think it would be really awesome. Basically what it'll amount to is the whole front will be black vinyl, and then it'll have that blue lightning bolt stuff. But I had seen a arcade on YouTube that really inspired me, and I just, the Back to the Future movies for me I mean, they're timeless, so I just thought, you know, it'd be kind of neat to capture that same feeling in the arcade cabinet, because that's essentially kind of what I'm going after. So the arcade cabinet itself will have I think I'm going to go with it'll be all black, you know, and then it'll have that blue lightning all over, but I'm also going to layer that Marty and Doc, like movie cover type deal here, and then maybe throw the DeLorean down here or something. And then up here I think I'm going to do there's an emblem that I want to buy off of eBay. It just says flux capacitor, and then it says 1.21 gigawatts, and then it's got a little emblem of the flux capacitor. So I think I'm going to do the lightning here, and then I'll put that emblem right there. And then up here I'm going to do, I hate to copy the guy, but I'm going to do probably do a trackball eventually. Then I'm thinking about adding one of those trigger joysticks for some of the flight games on here, but I don't know yet for sure. So with the he had a, with the trackball he had the old clock tower clock in the trackball, so that was really cool. And then he had the DeLorean up here, and then he had the blue lightning, of course, but he had a way bigger panel. That was a 4-player. But one thing that inspired me about it was he had the Back to the Future in the hyperspin intro. You'll see it. I think I checked it to boot it up, but he edited that hyperspin intro and then put some Back to the Future clips in there. And so that in itself really inspired me. One thing that I did that I'll probably add a couple more strips on it, but I'll shut the lights off quick. I put the LED lighting underneath the control panel to kind of give a little bit of underlighting, so that is pretty neat. I mean, it really, the picture or the video just kind of drowns out the lighting. It looks really brilliant and overpowering, but it feels really cool. It's such a neat cabinet. Later on, I think I may pull this out because this is a perfect size for a 15-inch monitor. I'm trying to find the files for, I've got these speakers hooked up here, which I don't care for those. I like the, you know, the cabinets that come up and have somewhat of a hood. You can point the speakers down and you get that, that acoustic kind of sound, and it really sounds good. These are just kind of like blasting in your face, so some of the sounds on hyperspin are just kind of overpowering, and I thought about changing those, building like a, you know, something off the top where I can hang speakers that point down, like some surround sound speakers. But that to me just, it looked kind of gaudy. But at the same time, when it's down in the basement, you probably won't even notice it if I happen to do that. But you can see I've got a DVD player in there. It's a 5-disc DVD changer in there. Of course, I got this wireless keyboard for any kind of, with the mouse on it, for any kind of editing. Makes it kind of nice. But like I said, all the PC and everything is all up top in the top section. And then I've got the surround with the powered sub down there. The first cabinet that I did, it's got a powered sub as well. So I really like the audio, and if it's tinny sounding, I don't like it. So that being said, I go ahead and boot it up, but I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the proper adapters, because I've got a 23-inch LED up in here. So I've got 2 HDMI ins and a VGA in, and that's it. So I'm using the VGA, of course, for the PC, because that's the only output that it has for video. So what I'll end up doing with the DVD player, what I want to do is, since it sounds so good, and that's kind of why I really like the Back to the Future theme. So I'm gonna throw the trilogy in there, since I can just load them up, and then the monitor's got an auto detect as far as what input it's using. So I'm just gonna do a component out and then put a component out to HDMI converter, the powered converter. So I'll eventually do that. So it'd be kind of neat when it's down in the basement. I could, you know, I got the remote for it. I can just kind of lift it up and, you know, turn the PC off and throw that on there. I think that'd be kind of cool. So I'll go ahead and, this is just a momentary switch. I'll probably light all these switches up as well. This is going to be pinball. I've got another one over there I've got to correct. It didn't bore, I didn't bore the wood that great, but there's that, and then this is just a momentary switch for the PC, and then that'll boot. And then after that, I'll basically just cycle through. I think I'm going to turn the light off because I don't like the reflection. This the glass that was standard issue for this thing was pretty cool. It's kind of a smoke type glass, and I didn't think that it was going to be very cool, but I tell you what, once I put that freaking LED monitor on there, I mean, like I said, even the video doesn't do it justice. I mean, it is so nice. It looks so good. I'm eventually going to do the configuration for it to where you don't see any Windows boot up. There's a way to get, I know how to do it, I just haven't got to it yet. I had that video checked, the boot up video or the intro video for hyperspin, but apparently it's not loading. I don't understand why. So there's lots of configuration still to do on this system. Step back and get a view of it. Yeah, if you could just hear the bass, it just sounds really good. So, you know, when I started this whole deal, I was going to build cabinets. But like I said, I got it set up to where, you know, this will turn up the volume. I think I got it on. Oh, whoops. Nope. There, she's up pretty loud now, so. I've got the Genesis, or the emulator for, I got the emulator for, MAME. God, that sounds good. You can't hear it, but man. Like I said, I got the MAME emulator. Thought I had all the Sega, which is a Fusion emulator, and then the MAME emulator mapped out for buttons. I may change a few, but I can't figure out to this point on the Nintendo emulator how to change all that. I'll eventually figure it out, but so we'll go into Neo Geo.
Optic blast.
Ooh, yeah, see? So loud. And speakers are right in your face. See, I'm gonna go ahead and turn that down. Like I said, not a fan. Not a fan of the speaker locations, that's all. I don't know if I'd covered that. I jumped around so much here, but that's a perfect location for the files, if I can find them. Excuse me. Perfect location for a video marquee. So, I want to do that hyper marquee setup, which is cool because what it'll do is it might not look that great up here, but you can basically take a wide monitor, say like this 23-inch I got here, and then basically section it out. So you're using, you know, a fraction of it. So you can do something as simple as use the top section and drop it down behind the other monitor, but then frame it up top, and then all you're seeing is once it does the marquee art, once it brings all that up, it'll flash it up to the, or use it as the same monitor. So you'll have like your Super Nintendo marquee up here, just to kind of do that. But like I said, I don't have this emulator mapped out for buttons either, but I don't have a video card in this PC, but it seems to be doing okay. It's a 64-bit. It's got 4 gig of RAM. Since it's a 64-bit, I think I need to upgrade that to 8 gig, and I'll be able to feasibly use that 64-bit. But it seems that the pinball doesn't like, you know, integrated graphics or GPU or whatever you want to call it. So that being said, it's just, you know, like I said, this is a basic build. It's not like, it doesn't have every freaking emulator that known to man, but it's got enough that I can add. It's got a terabyte hard drive in there. I'm only using like 112 gig right now. But as you can see, this would keep you busy for a long while. I think I'll exit out of that. Oh, look at that. Oh, whoopsie. I gotta go back and see what that was. What the hell was that? That was the arcade something classic or some shit. It's down here somewhere. I haven't even got a chance to really go to town on this thing. Well, I better boot that up and see what that's all about. That's a Defender. That's on MAME, but it's kind of cool to see all this preloaded
Loading
stuff.
Complete.
I want to get rid of that voice too. I hate it. That's kind of neat. Huh. Yeah, this is a pretty neat system, I'll admit. Definitely won't be my last one. I'll be doing several more, I hope, later in the future, but they'll be all home built, you know, cabinets. So, oh, well, look at that. So you got Defender, Defender 2, Joust, Robotron, and I'm not sure what the hell that is. Something Star. Huh. Anyways, we'll go back, pull out of that. I just want to show the coin hop working and adds credits. It's pretty neat. Pac-Man emulator, or the ROM, isn't working for some odd reason. Not sure why. Might have to reload a different one.
Loading complete.
It's kind of cool because I was going to do a rotating screen. You know, some of these, the orientation on some of these games, like your older games, needed a 4:3, or better yet, it just needed a widescreen that was fit, you know, it flipped the horizontal and the vertical feed around, basically, is what it did. But I was going to do a rotating screen and then configure the PC to where it would actually flip it on its own, put a servo motor in there, but I just felt, you know, that was a lot, because once I found these bezels or bezels or whatever you want to call them. I never could pronounce that right, but at any rate, I got enough screen here to where it'll fill in. It just puts that screen up there. It looks pretty decent, and then it just kind of mimics the old arcade, which to me it looks pretty legit. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and drop a couple tokens here. Oh, just to kind of show the coin up on, man, what a shitty video. Oh, she dropped in and then credit. That's pretty cool to me. I like it. There you go. So that's essentially all I wanted to capture. I realized that the video is almost 20 minutes long, so that in itself was a little too long. Oops, can't play while I'm videoing. So that's all I wanted to show, was where I'm at so far, and I think it's a pretty neat system, and I believe this weekend I'm going to go ahead and haul her in, because these cabinets don't have wheels, and oh, look at that, I can't see them anyway. I went ahead and put some arcade wheels on it. I got to build some handles on it on the back side, but it seems this thing got pretty heavy pretty quickly, so that's about it for now. Thanks.